Hey everybody, hope y'all having a good day. Hope everything's going well for you. Just wanted to jump on and kind of talk about what our assumption is when we think that somebody judges us or we think that somebody is thinking something about us that may not even be the case. And we put ourselves in different states, but we put ourselves in a state of worry. We put ourselves in a state of not wanting to be judged. We put ourselves in a state of just a mental state of unsecurity, unrest, thinking that somebody may not like us or somebody may think that we're goofy or odd or whatever. Um, but we really need to ask ourselves and really need to think, and it is a struggle at times and can take some serious thought process with it, especially depending on the person. Um, does everybody's opinion really matter? I have a quote that I use with my teens and my own kids. I've told my oldest son this quote a few times recently, and I use it in my everyday life and at work and just with people that are around me. When I see that they're struggling, it's just a quote I throw out to them and just leave them to take it as is or take it how they want to and continue to live their life. But that quote is, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. And what that means is we all start somewhere, whether it's in our job, at school, certain subjects at school, or even with our Christian faith and our Christian walk. There's a sense of, at times, of if I don't know everything or I'm not as good at something as our friends or a family member or a coworker or somebody at church or whatever, that I'm just not up to par or I'm not good enough or whatever we tell ourselves. And that's not the case, because we all have to start somewhere. The people who we look at who are, good athletes, people the same age as us or whatever, good athletes or great at math or good at your job or whatever, and you just aren't there yet, or they're the ones that get all the praise and you don't, or whatever it is. They had to start somewhere as well. They weren't always there. People are naturally talented and God-given talent, at certain subjects and certain things and stuff like that, but they still had to work. It just doesn't come and you don't ever have to keep up the craft or whatever that topic is that it may be going through in your life. But we have to understand that we all have to start somewhere with everything. If you're not good at math, you have to start somewhere. Not everybody can do aerospace engineering type of math or anything like that, if that even involves math. But not everybody can do that, but we shouldn't look at people that can and say, well, I'm a failure because I can't do it. That's just not where God needs you, or not where you need to put all of your you know priority into. Or you just need to work on it. If that's something you want to do, work on it, get there. It'll pan out, because it's just studying, keeping involved, keeping your mindset of, this is what I want to do and this is where I want to be, and you'll get there. But a lot of times we go ahead and count ourselves out before even trying, and that's not where we need to be. That's not what we need to do, because it's not other people's opinions that's going to get us that A on the test or that great job offer or into heaven. It doesn't matter on going to the Christian aspect of it. It doesn't matter that you can't quote every scripture when somebody throws out a Bible verse. It doesn't matter that you can't quote every part of a story or remember every part of a story that's thrown out there. My last video, I talked about where the friends brought the paralyzed man to Jesus, and if somebody was to say, hey, have you heard this story, you could say yes, people have heard the story, but you may not remember every little detail of the story. That doesn't mean that you're not good enough to tell somebody about God. That doesn't mean that you're not good enough to share God's word or help others when they need to be helped, and show God's love through your actions and things like that. So we need to get to a part of our life and our upbringing and maturity level to know that you don't have to be the best at everything. You don't have to know every answer when somebody asks an answer. If somebody comes to me and asks me a Bible related answer, I don't know all the answers. I don't understand the entire Bible myself. There are things that I don't personally think that anybody can understand the entire Bible, because I believe in a way the Bible even says that we can't even fathom what heaven is going to look like. We can't fathom the peace and majestic part of what heaven is going to be when we get there. We know it's going to be great. We know there's going to be loved ones, and God's going to be there, and Jesus is going to be there, and all the people in the Bible are going to be there, and we're going to see such great, marvelous wonders that our brains can't even fathom. That, I mean, we can go and see awesome mountain tops and beaches and all kinds of nice, beautiful places on earth, but they're not even going to be close to matching up. Heard a preacher one time talk about how one of the big things that we know about heaven, or that we talk about when we talk about heaven, is streets of gold. But up there it's called gravel, because gold doesn't matter. It's beautiful, and it's going to make awesome streets and things like that. But up there it's just gravel. It's not that amazing. It's going to be something we wake up to every day, and we see every day. And here, that is a very valuable thing, and it's something that everybody wants and hold on to, and hopefully be able to sell later on, or give to a family member or a friend as a gift, or whatever it may be. But in heaven, it's just so much different. And but we're not going to have all the answers, because we can't understand everything about the Bible ourselves. So somebody asks a question and wants an answer on a topic on the Bible, I may have to refer them to somebody else, or I may have to tell them, give me a day or an hour or whatever to read up on it, so that I can understand it better myself, because I don't want to lead anybody wrong. So just understand that it's not just Bible based. It's not just with your faith in church and things like that. It's everything. I said earlier, if you're not great at math, I was terrible at science. I still couldn't pass a science test if I was given a 5th grade science test. But history, English, there's so many different topics out there that we study in school that not everybody's great at, and we don't have to, or we shouldn't feel the need to feel like a failure, or feel like somebody who isn't as good as my friends, or isn't as whatever, because somebody is good at it, somebody is better at it. In sports, if you put me up against LeBron James, I'm not gonna win. You put me up against anybody that's ever played Division I basketball, and probably most high school basketball players, I'm not gonna win. But I'm still gonna play and have fun, because that's what it's all about. And then take them to a sport that I have played more, or feel better at, then yeah, I'll give them a run for their money. But it's not about being the best all the time. We're in that type of society again, where you have to be the best, or you're going to be made fun of, or you have to know the most, or you're going to be told that you're a failure, or whatever. And that's usually by friends, not by your teacher. But I think more so than being told by your friends, I think it's more so being told by yourself. I think you let your mental side tell you that you're not as good as the person who's great at math, or you're not as good as the person who can dribble a basketball better or shoot better. You may not be right now, but that's okay. It's okay to not be the best yet. And that goes back to the quote, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20, because you may just be getting started. And you may be around chapter 5 or 6. You may have been playing basketball or been doing math in school for a few years now, and just don't have it all figured out yet. It'll come. I feel like when it comes to school subjects, math is the one that I can say that I feel confident about. But with math today and things that they teach high school students now, I would probably fail those classes too, because they just brought in so many new things and different ways of teaching it, and things like that it's just a different world. But does that matter? I use math every single day at work. but I don't have to know, extremely long division and decimals and fractions and all that stuff on an everyday basis. I need to know it, but I don't have to know it on an everyday basis to where I'm going to mess something up at work. Um, so I know what I need to know to get my job done, and that's all we can do is focus on what we need. All these different topics for. I don't need basketball or ice skating or anything like that for my everyday living. But if I want to get out with the kids or friends or my brother or whatever, basketball is the one thing that we're going to go to when it comes to a sport, because you need more people to play baseball. You need more people to play football. Basketball, you can play one on one. So it's fun to know how to play it, but you don't have to be the best player in the world out there every time you play. You don't have to win every time. It's for fun. Um, so kind of keep that kind of mindset in understanding outside of the Christian aspect of that stuff's just for fun. The sports especially, but knowing the subjects that you're learning in school or that we learned in school, those are needed. They're not just for fun, they are needed, but they're not life or death to where if you don't understand it and you make a bad grade in school, you're not a failure. You're not going to grow up a failure just because you're not good at a certain subject. I was terrible. I've already said how bad I was at science. I'm not a failure in life because I don't know the periodic table or I don't know anything about science. It's because I found another job, another way of life to where I didn't need science in there. Um, and I know I see science every day and live in a world of science and things like that, but I don't have to know all that. Somebody throws out pH levels in a swimming pool. All right, I'm just going to swim in it. Um, but but we don't have to know everything about every subject, and we get to a mental state where we assume that we do, and we've got to stop that. We've got to understand that life is too fragile to be so serious in everything that we do. On the Christian aspect of it, obviously it's serious, but we still need to have fun. We still need to be a team with each other and understand that I may not know everything about a certain subject, but maybe somebody else does, and we can build on each other. My pastor at church or a pastor I watch on TV or a Sunday school teacher that you have or whatever the situation is in your individual life, they may seem like they know more about the Bible than you. My pastor, ones I watch online, things like that, I assume and feel like they probably know more about the Bible than me. But just because I'm not at that level yet doesn't mean that I don't need to teach, that I don't need to help others when they need help, that I don't need to try to motivate other people to be better at their everyday life and want to help people down the road. I love teaching teenagers and I love teaching, that middle school level to try to get them to understand that the best way that we're going to survive this life together, the best way that we're going to survive our day by day with everything that's going on in society and everything that's going on in our country is to be a team. And that's another thing that's been made fun of or people just kind of lax on, is because we'd rather talk negative, like I talked about a little bit last week, but we want to talk negative, or it's easier to talk negative when if we could build each other up and understand each other better, then we would be able to get to the next step of life so much easier, so much calmer, so much happier um, than we are now. So many posts on social media, if you look right now, are bad things that's going on in people's lives. I understand there's a ton of things, especially with COVID and things like that right now. There is a lot of bad going on in the world. There's a lot of sickness. There's a lot of doctor's appointments. There's a lot of hospital stays. There's a lot of family members that are going through those things that we post about. And a lot of times, luckily, and a good thing, we're asking for prayer for those things. I can't wait till we get to a time to where we want to post about all the good that is happening, getting out of the hospital, making a good grade on a test, things like that. We don't celebrate as much as we try to be negative, or we probably don't even try, but we just are so used to it that when a negative thing happens, we talk about it or we post about it or whatever. We don't do that on the positive side. We don't do that when things are going good. And that'd be so much more fun to see and great to see. that's happening in the world. So don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. Easy as that. Don't give up because you're not on a level of somebody doing the same thing. Don't give up. Don't quit because somebody else is better at dribbling a basketball, that somebody else is better at speaking Spanish, somebody else is better at doing math, somebody else is better at your current job. It doesn't matter. It's a team. You're supposed to be a team anyways in most job settings. So if somebody else is better or faster or stronger or whatever the job is, and you're just not there yet, just keep working and congratulate them for being good at their job, and understand that it's a team and you're most likely working to get the job done together anyway. So they need you just as much as you need them, because if you're not there or another coworker's not there, they've got to either pick up that much more slack, or it's going to bring them down to where the job's just not going to be done either way. So again, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. We're all in this together, and we're all going to get through everything that we're facing together if we allow ourselves and each other to lean on other people and not just feel like we have to do the whole thing ourselves. So thanks again for stopping in. This video went a little bit longer than I expected it to, but I hope to get another one up soon as well and just continue this thing going. Thanks, guys.